Have you been searching for that killer app that has the potential to open the floodgates and bring hundreds of millions of people into crypto? Needless to say, that elusive unicorn would likely be valued at a pretty penny, which means if you got into it at the right time, you could post some truly insane gains. But what if that project combined NFTs, sports, and crypto? That's the type of rocket fuel that could send it to the stratosphere, right? Well, if you're nodding your head, then I think I've found the project for you, and that would be Chiliz. So today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Chiliz ecosystem and why I think it's one of the most interesting projects in crypto right now. I'll also share my thoughts on the CHZ token, fan token offerings, and a heck of a lot more. So be sure to stick around for the full lowdown. Before I get into all that, I do need to get a few things off my chest. Although I once headed up the accounts department at the Death Star, that does not make me a financial advisor. That means that everything I say is for informational and educational purposes only. After dropping that bombshell, I want to welcome anyone new to the channel. Howdy and welcome to the Bureau. This is the channel you need if you really want to level up that crypto knowledge. Here you'll find top-notch reviews, analysis, and insights brought to you by the Bureau's top agent. If that sounds like something you want to sign up to, then you can make that happen by gently tapping that subscribe button and smashing that tiny bell. Do that and the kind folks at YouTube will notify you whenever I release another video. One more thing. I've tried to help you out by providing some useful timestamps below. You can use them to skip ahead to the sections of my analysis which interest you the most. So, is Chiliz red hot or is it about to get you burned? Let's take a look. To get things started, I better explain what these Chiliz chaps are up to. In a nutshell, they're all about tokenizing the sports and entertainment sectors by creating a fan engagement platform. Sounds great, but why on earth would you want to do that in the first place? Well, I'm sure most of you have at least a passing interest in sports. Personally, I'm hoping that the mighty Fulham FC won't get relegated from the Premier League this season. For those from the US, yes, I am referring to the type of football you actually play with your foot. But here's the deal. Sports fans can only really watch their team, buy that merch, and buy overpriced matchday pies. So, in essence, we're all passive sports content consumers and have no active influence over what happens with the team. Well, okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Most normal people like me and you are passive sports content consumers. It is true that if you're a billionaire like Sheikh Mansour, you might decide to buy a football team like Manchester City. Do that and then you can certainly influence the team. But for us mere future billionaires, there are almost no systems in place to influence our team's decisions, which is kind of annoying for fans when their manager or coach makes some super silly decision. Chiliz basically aims to solve that problem by giving fans a say in their team's management, as well as a new way to engage with their team. It's pretty cool, right? But why on earth would a sports team want to give fans a say? Surely there are a ton of highly paid bigwigs that would be out of a job. Well, the teams dictate the decisions that fans can influence. So some teams might not want to crowdsource that team sheet every day, and I can kind of understand that. Now, like it or not, most sports teams out there are businesses, and that means they need to make money. Those star players don't tend to play for free after all. Those key income streams would be TV rights deals, merchandise sales, and gate receipts. Yes, it is true that gate receipts have been a bit of a pickle for most sports teams over the last year. However, a key way to further grow that team income would be through opening up new ways to monetize those fans. And that's the value proposition that Chiliz offers these sports teams by allowing them to sell fans the right to vote on specific team decisions, a form of radical fan engagement, if you will. Put simply, Chiliz offers the solution for teams to gamify team management, turn it into an entertainment proposition in its own right, and monetize the demand for these voting rights. Fans, on the other hand, get a new way to support their team and get given the opportunity to vote on certain team decisions, all of which impact on real-world sporting events. So that's a win for the team and for the fans who like the idea of that opportunity. So now that you know the basic value proposition offered by Chiliz, I want to flesh things out a bit more by diving into the Chiliz ecosystem. So let's move on to that, shall we? There are two key platforms that make up Chiliz. The first would be Socios.com, which is that team crowd management platform. This empowers fans to take an active role in guiding various decisions and have an influence on events for their favourite sports teams. That's all made possible by blockchain-based fan tokens, which allowed for secure and trustless deployment of tokenized voting rights, all executed by smart contracts on the Socios platform. So, on the Socios app, you might want to buy a fan token for Juventus Football Club, which would give you voting rights for certain club decisions, like I mentioned earlier. However, those fan tokens also act a bit like loyalty cards by giving you access to merchandise discounts and unique experiences. That could include things like exclusive dugout access on match days, or getting your hands on a signed shirt from your sporting hero, and much more. It's pretty awesome if you ask me. Oh yes, what's also important to note is that every sports team listed on the app has its own unique fan token. More details on that later. Basically, the Socios app has 7 key features active right now. The first is that it acts as a type of fiat on-ramp into crypto. You can buy Chiliz tokens via the app using MasterCard, Visa, Skrill, and Rapid. You'll need those Chiliz tokens to get your hands on the fan tokens for your favorite team. Next, there's a trading section that allows you to buy and sell those fan tokens. Then you have that all-important voting function for those that own fan tokens. This allows you to vote on things like shirt designs, the name for training grounds, and more. Now, I should say that Cypriot First Division side Apollon FC kind of took the concept of fan engagement to the next level in a friendly match against their rivals. The team sheet and formation were picked by their fans using Socios. It's pretty mental. It turns out that the fans clearly knew a thing or two, with Apollon FC emerging as 6-0 victors in that match. Now, some of the current benefits you can access through the app, if you hold enough fan tokens, are things like a 20% discount on the merchandise from certain teams. You can also earn reward tokens by engaging with the app, which you can redeem for exclusive club goodies and more. Another neat game in the app is Socios' version of Pokemon Go. In short, you can chase down those fan and Chiliz tokens in the real world via an augmented reality feature in the app. Find those coins and you can get some of them for free. And finally, you can get access to something called the Locker Room. I'll cover this in a bit when I get into the Chiliz tokens. In terms of supported sports on the app right now, the focus is on football. However, some esports and basketball teams are involved, with MMA coming soon too. What's interesting to me is that this model of gamification can be replicated in almost any other sports vertical. So the potential here is truly massive. I'm thinking about sports like Formula One, cricket, or the NFL. Yep, American football. Now, the second element of the Chiliz ecosystem would be the Chiliz exchange. The main draw here is all the fan token trading pairs which have CHZ trading pairs only. Yes, there are a few other regular crypto trading pairs like CHZ to USDT or CHZ to BTC, but I'll level with you, the main focus is on trading those fan tokens. Also, do note that if you want to get your hands on some Chiliz or fans tokens, this is going to be the cheapest exchange to buy them. Basically, if you're using the CHZ trading pair to buy on the exchange, you'll be paying 0% in fees. Exchange fees to sell on CHZ trading pairs are 0.6%, with other pairs being charged at 0.2% in fees. Now, you're probably wondering which teams have partnered up with Socios so far. No offence to Apollon FC, but I imagine most of you are not huge fans of Cypriot First Division football. So, let's take a look at some other teams to have signed up. I know that many crypto veterans out there will be jaded by partnership announcements, which generally turn out to be nothing but hot air. To be fair, there are still plenty of those happening in the crypto space today. So you could be forgiven for thinking that the idea of Chiliz partnering up with the likes of Barcelona, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico Madrid and AC Milan is nothing but false promises. However, those with a healthy dose of skepticism only need to look at these teams' social accounts, and you can find mentions of both Chiliz and Socios. These are some of the biggest football clubs in the world, with massive fan bases and millions of Twitter followers. To be honest, I didn't quite believe that these partnerships were real when I first glanced over the project. But yes, everything really does seem to be in order there. Now, I know I've covered quite a lot, but I've not really got into the tokens yet. So, shall we take a look at them now? Alrighty, first you note that there are 4 types of Chiliz Ecosystem tokens. First you have those fan tokens, which are issued for all sports teams partnering up with Chiliz on Socios. For each team, a finite number of fan tokens are issued with concrete voting rights and the ability to unlock rewards and those perks I spoke about earlier. Fans get those voting rights by swapping Chiliz tokens for fan tokens to gain decision-making rights for that team. So I might own a Juventus fan token, and that will only let me vote on Juventus-related events. What's super interesting here is that these fan tokens have created yet another form of crypto-backed fundraising, the Fan Token Offering, FTO. That's how new partners are launched on the Socios.com platform. In short, a fixed price per fan token is agreed upon by Socios and the team. Then a portion of the fan tokens are made available on the Socios platform for fans to buy, and users can get them at a fixed price. A bit like an ICO, IEO, or IDO. Now, there may be some of you that are probably doubting the demand for things like fan tokens. Well, here's an interesting fact. A recent FTO by AC Milan generated more than $6 million in the first 30 minutes of launch. So yes, if that's anything to go by, there is some pretty crazy demand for these tokens. However, this is not a one-off thing in 2021. Chiliz claims that fan tokens generated over $30 million in revenue for sports teams and partners via FTOs in 2022. Pretty handy for teams suffering from those low gate receipts thanks to the pandemic. Another important thing to know is that earlier in the year, Chiliz announced fan token burn mechanisms. Essentially, the better the team performs and the more fan token holders there are, the fewer tokens there will be in circulation. An example of that can be seen over here. Let's say we hold the Barcelona fan tokens here. 20,000 of these fan tokens were burned per goal and 40,000 were burned if Barcelona won. Yes, it is true that football fans are maybe even more tribal than the crypto community, and the demand for them seems to have been validated. But what about their tokenomics? Well, what you need to be aware of is that usually only a very small percentage of the total supply is circulating. Take the Paris Saint-Germain fan token, for example. Just 6% of the 20 million total supply is circulating. The rest of the tokens held by PSG Football Club have a linear vesting schedule of 8 years, with 2.5 million being released per year. Yes, that's about double the current circulating supply. That's certainly something worth knowing if you're thinking about dabbling in PSG tokens. I mean, there is going to be quite a bit of inflation after all. The same is true of Juventus fan tokens, with just 1.3 million tokens circulating with a total supply of 20 million. The rest of those fan tokens have that same monthly linear vesting schedule of 8 years, with 2.5 million Juve tokens being released every year. I think you get the picture here. Now, although you and I know about the importance of tokenomics, many sports fans don't. They are likely to just buy those tokens because they like a certain team. I'm sure you have friends who are likely to be in that category. So you may also want to tell them to watch my video on tokenomics, which is linked to in the top right. So the main question for anyone looking at wading into the fan token waters should be, will demand for fan tokens outstrip their pretty crazy inflation rate? If that's the case, then we can expect the token price to increase. If you're interested in checking out all the different fan tokens and their respective market caps, then you might want to check out fantokenrank.com. It's basically like a coin market cap for fan tokens only. Secondly, you have the Chiliz or CHZ token. Yes, that's the one that went to the proverbial moon recently and grabbed most of the news headlines. What's important to note though is that it's both an ERC20 utility token and a BEP2 token on the Binance chain. So be sure not to mix things up if you're depositing or withdrawing from an exchange. CHZ tokens are basically used as the fuel for the Chiliz ecosystem and are used by fans to acquire those all-important fan tokens for any of the teams partnered with Socios.com. The way I think of them is that they act in a similar way to ETH back in those crazy ICO days of 2017, except they're for fan token offerings. The next use case of the CHZ token hasn't gone live yet. However, in the near future, MMA fans will be able to buy UFC tickets with Chiliz tokens. Chiliz will also be giving out VIP experiences for specific UFC events. Those sorts of unique experiences could lead to an increase in demand for CHZ tokens. Now, if you'd like me to speculate a bit here, I don't think it would be outlandish to think that Chiliz will expand similar options to sports teams partnered with the platform. It would make sense to me. It's also true that CHZ can be used as a store and transfer of value like every other cryptocurrency, and they can be traded on exchanges. So now that you know about the core demand drivers for the Chiliz token, what do you need to know about the supply side of the equation? Well, honestly, I have not been able to find any more recent information on the tokenomics, so we'll have to use the outline from a year ago. That outlines that 20% of net trading fees on the Chiliz exchange will be burned. So will 10% of the net proceeds from FTOs and 20% of the proceeds from NFTs and collectibles. That announcement for version 2.0 of Chiliz token economics states that those terms for burning CHZ are valid till June 2020 when they'll be reviewed. Now sadly, I've not been able to find more recent information on that. However, Chiliz did tweet earlier in 2021 that the first burn of the year was based on that token economics announcement, and that 11 million CHZ tokens had been sent to the incinerator. That token burn was worth around $5.5 million at the time of shooting this video. Not too large an amount given that the project commands a market cap of just over $2.5 billion. However, what I like about this token burn method is that it reminds me of Binance's BNB token burns. Those burns being directly linked to platform use. The third type of Chiliz token would be locker tokens. So, what are those? Well, in the Socios app, there's a feature I glossed over earlier called the Socios Locker Room. Its purpose is to show potential partner clubs how much demand there is for their team's fan tokens. So yes, it's basically Socios users saying, "Hey Mr. Sports Club, we really want you to do a fan token with Socios." Those chaps at Socios create a locker for each potential partner club. These are open for 120 days. Users can put CHZ tokens into the locker and you get locker tokens in return. If the partner decides to launch a fan token, then these locker tokens are swapped for official fan tokens at a rate of 1-to-1. But why bother with this? What's the incentive? Well, if a potential partner doesn't opt to launch their fan token in the specified time period, then you get your CHZ tokens back. However, if the club does go ahead with that, you've secured your allocation of fan tokens and you get 10% of the money you initially invested in bonus CHZ cashback. The interesting side effect of this locker room mechanic is that it essentially replicates staking by taking CHZ tokens off the open market and reducing the tradable supply. So yes, yet another use case for CHZ. The final type of token in the Chiliz ecosystem would be the ERC 1155 NFTs. Basically, Socios teamed up with Engine to create Ethereum-based collectibles for partner clubs. A few weeks ago, Chiliz also announced it had integrated with Chainlink to mint NFTs in real time. So, why is that a big deal? Well, it allows Chiliz to create dynamic NFTs in response to real-world sporting events and mint limited edition NFTs. For example, if a player scores their 100th goal, then limited edition NFTs might be minted to commemorate it. You also have the likes of Paris Saint-Germain tweeting about Socios NFTs too. And here's AC Milan letting their fans know that they should get ready for AC Milan NFT collectibles. Honestly, when it comes to NFTs and sport, it all makes a ton of sense to me. I mean, think about the crazy money that sports fans are willing to pay for collectibles like memorabilia and sports cards. But what really sets Chiliz apart from others in the NFT space is that they understand that NFTs need to have value if prices are going to be supported long term. At the moment, they are focused on rewards. So an example of that would be the ownership of a specific Juventus NFT could lead to being granted exclusive access to a VIP box at the stadium. Now that is honestly the type of NFT utility I can really get behind. What's even more exciting is that I can see how those types of NFTs could really appeal to no-coiner sports fans too. Now, if you're a bit lost with all this NFT talk, then that's because you probably didn't watch my video on the latest NFT hype. Not to worry though, that's linked to in the top right corner, should you fancy a gander. So, what do I think about these tokens? Well, honestly, I find fan tokens really hard to value, and that's because sports fans can really be quite irrational when it comes to their teams. I know guys that would spend over 1,000 of the Queen's finest pounds and days travelling to away games in far-flung places. This, even though their team frankly has little hope of winning. When you have fans behaving so emotionally, it's honestly very difficult to gauge a value for these token types. With the CHZ token, I think in the medium to long term that it's very simple. If the platform does well, so will the token. But I would urge people to be careful and think about their entry point if they're considering getting some CHZ. At the time of shooting this video, there was a large pullback, but prices are still well off those seen before it went parabolic. Locker tokens do seem like a good way to give yourself a chance of making a better return on the CHZ if you have that hanging around, or you'd be interested in getting exposure to a certain fan token if it was launched. Finally, on the Chiliz NFT front, honestly, I think it all depends on the perks that can be unlocked by holding these NFTs. If they unlock great exclusive rewards or unique experiences that fans really want, then I have no doubt that they'll command sky-high prices. Imagine the demand for an NFT amongst football fans that allowed you to meet up with Lionel Messi once a year. I imagine that every fan and football YouTuber under the sun would want a piece of that one. But what about Chiliz partnerships? Well, there is a very important one that I want to go over quickly. Binance is both a partner and investor in Chiliz. That's why almost every fan token and the CHZ token is listed on Binance. It also gave access to certain fan tokens like PSG and Juve on the Binance launch pool. If liquidity is something that concerns you, then honestly I would opt to trade them on Binance every day of the week. That trade volume and liquidity is typically way better than the Chiliz exchange itself. Probably not a surprise to anyone out there. Also, Binance frankly offers way more trading pairs. Now, I actually did a dedicated walkthrough on how to get started with Binance recently, and you folks know where to go for that viewing pleasure. However, if you're really not interested in getting Chiliz or fans tokens on Binance, then you will want to completely ignore that link in the description below, which gets you a 20% fee discount. Okay team, that's about all I have time for today, but I do have a few closing thoughts to share. Honestly, I know firsthand how passionate sports fans can be. I wonder if fan tokens could end up becoming a bit like how diamonds are. More or bigger diamonds equals more love. Or in terms of fan tokens, that would be more fan tokens, the bigger a supporter you really are. Let's face it, there are billions of sports fans out there in the world, and almost everyone I know seems to love the idea of being able to influence their team's decisions and get exclusive perks. Overall, I really like Chiliz as a project, the concept and how they're seemingly paving the way for unique digital sports memorabilia with NFTs in real time. I also really love the idea of attaching tangible team-related perks to NFTs. That way they have tangible real-world value, and this should drive future demand. Now that I think about it, there are plenty of countries in the world where gambling on sports is illegal. Think of the likes of China, where folks are football crazy. What fan tokens also allow people to do is to speculate on the success of teams due to that fan token burn mechanism and how, in theory, teams should be more popular the more they win. In a way, it's kind of like an indirect way of betting on them too. There are billions of sports fans around the world. Yes, the majority are probably not die-hard fans, but I'd wager that hundreds of millions are and would be open to using a platform like Socios. That's a heck of a lot of new people who could be introduced to the world of crypto, and I guess that's what makes Chiliz so intriguing as a platform. Also, think about the potential to add more teams and sports. I also hear that Chiliz plans on expanding into the US with a $50 million investment. Just think how crazy that could be if they got some big NFL teams onto the platform. But with all that being said, I do believe that Chiliz' long-term success rests on voting power and rewards that fans really care about. In a crazy world where anything seems possible, is it really so far-fetched to think that even major decisions like transfers, team sheets, and formations could be decided by fans in the future? I imagine that's something almost every sports fan would be interested in. The one thing I am wary of at the time of shooting the video is the market cap valuations of these tokens. Is Chiliz really worth close to $3 billion? I'll let you decide. Now then, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Chiliz? Is it hot or just a flop waiting to happen? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and if you're interested in seeing even more content from me, then hit up that socials page in the description. Here you'll find links to our TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, and more. So, if you're looking for content from the Bureau that you cannot find on the tube, that's where you need to go. And finally, if you think the David Attenborough of crypto deserves some love, then send some good karma my way by dropping a like on this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it. Take it easy, folks. I'll see you very soon.